Protocol having been established, I welcome all the members of NCNW, affiliates, and friends to our Bethune Heights Recognition Program workshop. The mission and purpose of the workshops is to give you a bit of history and the rationale for the program. Through these workshop segments, we will demonstrate various scenarios, rationales, and visions of 4 different states and cooperative states of their planning. 1 will be longevity and success. Number 2 will be visionary and success. Number 3 will be cooperative states and success. And the final one will be planning for cooperative states. The Bethune Heights Recognition Program was founded in 1974 and has grown into a great national movement. Its uniqueness comes from the annual opportunity it gives individuals to live the legacy of NCNW's founder, Miss Mary McLeod Bethune, by contributing to the work for which she dedicated her life. Proceeds from the program help to undergird the vital work of the national office by broadening and strengthening the financial base that is so crucial to NCNW's survival and its ability to effect much needed change. The Bethune Heights Recognition Program honors Bethune achievers, that's persons who contribute $300 or more, life members and legacy life members who contribute, join, or upgrade through the program. In November 2010, during the NCNW's 75th anniversary convocation, Dr. Barbara L. Shaw, our national chair at the time, officially announced that the program would be renamed Bethune Heights Recognition Program. And please know that it's not a slash, it's a hyphen, in honor of Dr. Dorothy Irene Height, NCNW Chair and President Emerita, and her contribution to the organization. The state of New York have been having the program for 45 years. Our national presidents and or executive board members always attend the program. Dr. Height never missed one, and she achieved every year. During an attendance by past President Ingrid Saunders Jones, after seeing the execution and success of the program, at our next convention, Ms. Jones appointed Johnnie Walker and Donna Fields as national co-chair of the Bethune Heights program. Donna was already the national chair, but seeing that she wanted such an expansion, we had to be co-chairs. It was our charge to unify the program by setting up guidelines that each state or cooperative states would follow in order to organize a state program. These guidelines were developed by a BHRP steering committee that were made up of state leaders from various states. The guidelines were submitted and adopted by the executive board and is on the national website as a guide for state and cooperative state planning. It was Mrs. Jones' desire to have all states that had NCNW sections become a part of the program, and the program would no longer be held by sections. This would bring about unification and less competition. So we hope that these 3-4 workshops will give you an incentive to start a program, or if there's one already in your state, you will be willing to lend your support. We will begin our first segment with successful 45 years, New York State. The facilitators are Gladys Keller, Chair of the New York State Bethune Height Recognition Program. Followed by Gladys will be Janelle Rollerson, our Achiever Coordinator, Legacy Life member, and Life member for the state of New York, in that order. Ladies and gentlemen, Gladys Keller, our state chair for the Bethune Height Recognition Program. Let's hear it for Gladys.
Good afternoon again, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Walker. I am Gladys Keller, chairperson of the New York State Bethune Height Recognition Program. This workshop will be in 2 segments. Janelle Rollerson and I will be sharing the BHRP planning process, organizing, logistics, guidelines, roles and responsibilities, tips, unique moments, and why we have been successful for the past 46 years. As you've already heard, New York is one of the original 3 BHRP states, established in 1974 by the late, great Dr. Dorothy Irene Height as a National Bethune Recognition Program fundraiser to support the work of the national office. Last year was a very good year for the state. We had an income of over $100,000 and close to 500 participants at our luncheon. How did we do it? We used the tools provided by adhering to the important guidelines, using consistency, transparency, and committee members attend regular meetings every 3rd Saturday of the month except May. Our luncheon takes place yearly on the 3rd Saturday in May. The committee follows the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. The planning committee is a cohesive, committed group who believes in the mission, the message, the method, and the legacy of the National Council of Negro Women Incorporated. There are 18 sections who participates in our meetings. As plans were being implemented for our 46th annual luncheon, COVID-19 stopped us in our tracks, but not for long. Janelle Rollerson will explain in her segment what we did when the pandemic was announced. Our yearly meetings are held from September to June. A welcome back letter from the state chair is sent to all sections president and BHRP Planning Committee members the first week in September, which includes expectations at the meetings, the place, the time of the monthly meetings, a list of ground rules to keep our meetings on track, the agenda, the schedule for the year, minutes from June, and some of the forms if deadlines are known. Also, an encouragement to the committee members to participate in all meetings, no sitting on the sidelines. Our first meeting in September, the planning committee is organized by voting on a chairperson and 2 co-chairpersons if it is an election year. If not, everyone remains in the same position. Volunteers are asked for the rest of the committees. Each position is held for 2 years, except the financial secretary and the treasurer. They may opt out at any time. The budget is presented for adoption. A goal is set. We vote on a theme. A site is chosen from research that is done prior to the meeting. Roles and responsibilities. The state chair oversees the planning and hosting of the BHRP luncheon, as well as facilitate at each BHRP meeting. The chair always requests a written report from each committee coordinator chair. Written reports measure the success of the program. Reports from chairs are limited to 2 minutes. Yes, 2 minutes because we have a lot of committees and we don't like for people to get up and babble. Roles and responsibilities, yes. The secretary takes the minutes and email to the chairperson for editing and dissemination to the group. The financial secretary receives and secure forms documented. She documents all monies, including the date, the time, and the amount. Plus she initials the paid forms, which are forwarded to the treasurer. And of course, the treasurer deposits all the money in the designated bank account. She makes a report to the monthly planning committee and is responsible for all monies sent to the national office. Team leaders, there is one from each section. They're responsible for soliciting and documenting funds from section members to support the state BHRP. They also report at their section monthly membership meeting. This is very important because this is how we get the information out, the advertisement out. Honorees coordinators solicit honorees from the planning committee who exemplifies extraordinary work in community outreach or donate a significant financial contribution. The applications are updated with the deadline. The state honorees are determined by the planning committee. They are not mandatory. Tickets and reservations coordinators advises the committee what is being used, tickets or no tickets. If tickets are not used, another system takes place. Their responsibilities are reservations, table seating, final head count, as well as the check-in process. Raffles coordinators. This is very important because some states do not have this. Responsible for ordering and disseminating raffles to all sections, which are used for members achieving, but not for New Life and New Legacy Life membership. It is important that a concise record is kept by the coordinator chair of how many raffles each section has sold by the deadline. Yes, there is a deadline and you must adhere to it. If raffles are not sold or returned by the set deadline, the section must pay for them. Leftover raffles are sold at the event. Site coordinators negotiates for a cost-effective site. The word cost-effective is important. We don't need to be downtown at the Waldorf Astoria. The contract is obtained. The amount of deposit is advised. The space, the arrival and breakdown time for the vendors, very important for the vendors because some vendors, if our luncheon starts at 12, they want to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning when the place is closed. We advise the upkeep of the VIP room setup. What is being served? What time should they be there? The site coordinator checks the menu choices and gives a full report of all findings to the committee for a vote if needed. Program coordinators are responsible for all logistics, the sound system, the microphone, the music, the photographer, videographer, singer, MC, the grand march, as well as whatever is needed to make the event successful. All must be approved by the planning committee. I want to thank you for listening. At this time, Janelle Rollison from the Manhattan section will continue with the second segment. Thank you. Janelle? I don't hear her.
Janelle, you're not unmuted.
She has to be unmuted. Where's Ariane?
All right, go ahead.
Unmute.
Thank you, Ms. Keller. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Janelle Rollison, a proud member of the Manhattan section in New York. I am also the Achiever Coordinator for the New York State Bethune Height Recognition Program. As I continue about how New York did it, let us remember the program is designed to honor and recognize individual Bethune achievers who give or raise monies to support the work of the organization. I will continue with the basic roles of the other coordinators, starting with the Achiever Coordinator. The Achiever Coordinator distributes individual commitment forms to each section, requesting members to become a Bethune Achiever Life or Legacy Life member. All state BHRP Planning Committee members must achieve. We keep accurate records of all payments and report them to the Financial Secretary. Upon completion of full payments and to allow for timely preparation of certificates and awards, all payments must be fully paid 45 days prior to the event. All eligible achievers will receive an award or plaque in addition to the certificate received from National. In following with the guidelines and the purpose of BHRP, which is recognizing each achiever, we organize a lineup and a distribution process recognizing our achievers within a candlelit circle at the end of the program, singing, you know the song, This Little Light of Mine. I would sing it for you, but I cannot sing. A note worth mentioning also for the New York State, we average 100 plus achievers annually. Our past BHRP chair, Ms. Esther McCall, was a 39-time achiever. The Journal Coordinator creates an application and distributes to all section and honorees to purchase ads. Each section is expected and normally ticks out a full-page color ad or more. We keep concise records of all ads and all funds are reported to the Financial Secretary. The Brown Box Coordinator solicits funds from members who have a brown box. Hospitality Coordinators, we request volunteers from all sections to serve as hostesses to meet and greet, assist, as well as escort the guests to their assigned tables. We welcome and assist all guests in a cordial manner that shows that they are all welcome. Our youth section members participate in this committee. The publicity coordinator needs to get the word out, so they are responsible for republicizing the event by creating save the date and regular flyers. They advertise the event through social media as well as our local medias. All section and members are required to advertise the event. Affiliate coordinator encourages and invites our sister partners to attend and support this event. The vendor coordinator solicits vendors to rent spaces to support the event, and this has been quite successful. It also promotes their businesses. At our wrap-up meeting in June, this is a celebratory meeting, highlighting the plus and the minus of the event and how we can improve for the following year. All committee reports are given at this time. We had a unique time for 2020 when COVID-19 caused us to stop our plans for 2020. But we did not stop. We called a planning committee meeting to discuss our plans to move forward to 2021. Our host venue willingly changed our date to May 2021. Contracts were revised. We created inserts for the invitations that would reflect the new 2021 date. Flyers were updated. Our honorees were advised of the new date, and they agreed to stay on board to move forward to the 2021 program. We voted unanimously to send funds collected for 2019-20 to the national office with a cohesive, dedicated planning committee. This is how New York State gets it done. A quick shout out to my Manhattan Section sisters and all of the New York State members. Thank you from the state of New York, and God bless. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Janelle and Gladys. I see that we have 147 people listening to us. So we want to make sure that all of our workshop ideas is heard by everyone, and they will have an incentive to, you know, sometimes when you copy something, it is an admiration of the process that's been done or the person who's doing it. So that's a plus. Next, our next one. I tell you, this operation co-chairing allows so many blessings for me. I don't know about anybody else, but so many blessings. I've met people from all four corners of the earth, and they remain sweet and warm in my heart. And the state of Ohio is one of them. Our next presentation will be by the visionary state, and I use the word visionary because they did something that I don't believe other states have done. They had a weekend of a Bethune Height recognition program. And I'm going to allow them to explain to you how it was done. Latisha Hazell is one of the Ohio State coalitions and primarily oversees the Southern District. She is the president of the Cincinnati section and the chair of the Bethune Height Recognition Program in Ohio. She also serves on the nominating and membership committee of our national office. She's a life member and a Bethune achiever. Her co-partner is Janice Taylor. I don't know what to say about Janice. I've known Janice as long as I've been in NCNW. She has always, if you look around the room and you see someone standing in the corner, aiding and abetting and assisting in every area of the convention, from Dr. Daly's leadership training right up to the gala. You see Janice Taylor. Ohio is a blessed state to have these two ladies in charge of that state Bethune Height recognition program. I don't know who will start first, but they'll make that decision. I give you Latisha and Janice.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair, for that warm introduction. I feel like your co-chair, Donna, and I probably owe you a couple of dollars for that introduction. So I'll go ahead and get that together. But thank you so much. And I want to say greetings to all this afternoon. Again, my name is Latisha, and I am truly humbled and honored to have the opportunity to spend just a few moments to share some highlights about the visionary Ohio Bethune Heights Recognition Program. And I first want to start off by saying that this was my very, very, very first time serving as a state chair, and my very, very, very first time of being over a national program such as this amazing program. And so I was appointed along with co-chair Marie Penn following the affiliates assembly that we had in 2017, where how timely it was that those guidelines were issued. Timely and important because I had no idea how to begin. So I started off with what I would call the Bible, the framework, the roadmap, just as New York had talked about how important it is with those guidelines. And I thank New York for that. And I was trying to jot down some notes, but it's important to know that you have to use that roadmap, because if you want to get to any destination, you need that map. And so we followed the guidelines to a T. I also want to thank the Inaugural Ohio committee members under the new guidelines that were issued. I want to thank Danielle Pierre, Angela Pickett, Loretta Gray, Erica Manuel, Judge Terry Jamison, Charlene Green, and Marie Penn, along with Mrs. Taylor, who will be for you after I finish. We worked hard together to make sure that Ohio's program would be successful. And it wasn't an easy undertaking, because we had to lay foundation, we had to set strategy so that we can start transforming our program, so that we can move onward. So again, I was appointed as chair and Marie Penn was appointed as co-chair. We presented a workshop at our next available state meeting so that we can share with Ohio the new guidelines, and we wanted to share with them the direction that Ohio needed to move in so that we could be in compliance with those new guidelines. And it wasn't that we weren't successful. We had many successful Bethune Heights recognition programs over the years, but traditionally Ohio had our program every 2 years. I believe for the past 20 years, the programs had been held in the northern region. And so the guidelines said the program needed to be annual. So we had a major shift that we had to get Ohio on board with to make sure that we changed our every 2-year program to a 1-year event every year, to make sure that we continue to raise money for this illustrious program. So that was one of the major transformations that Ohio had to undertake. Another new thing for Ohio was having a state committee that was diverse, that represented as much of the diversity that we needed for each region, because Ohio is broken into the northern and the southern region. So we had to make sure that we had a committee, and kudos, like I said, to my committee. I would not be standing before you or sitting before you on Zoom had it not been for this dynamic committee. Another thing that we had to overcome is you have to have a separate bank account for BHRP. You do not commingle the funds with your state coalition bank account. And so we had to establish a state bank account, or a BHRP, a bank account, so that we could make sure that we had what we needed for a successful program. We had to make sure that we could cover the expenses. We had to make sure that we could cover entertainment. We could bring in speakers. All of those things, sell tickets, all those things that needed to be accomplished. Another thing I want to mention about Ohio is when we have our BHRP event, when it was every 2 years, we would also have it in conjunction with our state meeting, so that we come together the 2 times a year that we come together, and we didn't have an additional event. And so that's really the tradition that we've had in Ohio. So we also had to look at our current state and look at where we were heading. So we had to change and transform our mindset. We had to change our approach. We had to change and lay out a foundation. And then now, instead of having just one luncheon, we had to plan multiple events for our program to be successful. So Ohio's program decided that we would establish some goals going in. And the goals were, for 2019, we wanted to have 20 Achievers, Life Members, and Legacy Life Members. And for 2020, we wanted to raise that just to 5 so that we could meet that goal. So we presented all of this information and communicated to the rest of the members of Ohio, and Ohio was well pleased with the direction that we were getting ready to head upon. So the committee began all of the work that we needed to do to accomplish all of the program goals that we had set out. And so Ohio had a lot of firsts in 2019, and we're really, really proud of those firsts. First and foremost, we held our first event at Creekside Conference and Event Center, and we held it in Columbus, Ohio. We had never had a Bethune Height luncheon in Columbus, Ohio. So that was exciting for Ohio, and everybody was excited to be a part of that event. We also had one of our very own co-chairs, Ms. Johnnie Walker, as our national speaker, and she was phenomenal. And we were so glad that she accepted our invitation to be a part of this wonderful program. We also had the opportunity in Ohio, because it was an exciting time in Ohio, to honor some of Ohio's first African-American female first for our justice and law enforcement area. So we were able to honor Justice Melody Stewart, our first Supreme Court Justice, Honorable Laurel Beatty Blunt, first African-American female judge of the Court of Appeals. And we also got to honor Chief Kimberly Spears McNatt, the first African-American female police chief, as our exemplary honorees. And as we all know, our exemplary honorees received the scroll, our most sacred and highest prestigious honor for NCNW. We honored our Achievers, we honored our New Life, and we honored our New Legacy Life members. We had a very successful event in 2019. Now, due to the pandemic, you guys hear that tone, we had to postpone the 2020 event, but I am pleased to report that Ohio has continued to do well, and we were still able to achieve all of the goals that we had set forth when we initially began as a committee. So just some quick BHRP tips. It is critical that you know your guidelines, know the criteria, know roles and responsibilities, know the awards, the honorees, the reports, and make sure you follow them. It is your roadmap, your guide, your Bible, and all of your keys to success. Also, it's important to empower, encourage, equip, and engage your committee. There are many important decisions to be made, and this program is too big and too important for it to be handled by just 1 or 2 people making all the decisions. It takes a great deal of expertise, collaboration, coordination, and my hope is that you recruit and retain members who are fully committed and dedicated to the program's continued success. Establish a separate bank account for BHRP. Do not commingle any of the funds. And also make sure, as you are closing out your event, to make sure that you raise enough money to have some seed money, because you want those who follow you, the new chairs, you want the new committee members to make sure they have what they need to be successful as well. Mrs. Walker taught me a very important message. She said, make sure you invite your national chair, your executive director, and all your national co-chairs. Like I said, it was my first time, and so I appreciate the coaching and the guidance and the structure that and the time that she took to help us be successful. Another tip is make every moment an achiever moment. Always extend an invitation to any NCNW member to become an Achiever, to become a Life member, to become a Legacy Life members. They're just waiting for somebody to ask them. Everyone wants to be honored and recognized. So I thank you, and I want to turn it over to Mrs. Janice M. Keller.
Good afternoon. First, we all are grateful to have Dr. Janetta Betchko, our 7th national president, and our dynamic duo, BHRP's co-chairs, Mrs. Johnnie M. Walker and Ms. Donna Michelle Fields, for their extraordinary leadership on behalf of NCNW's Bethune Height Recognition Program and Achievers event. I am honored, humbled to serve. And this is truly a privilege to be a presenter for such an occasion. I have been an achiever for many, many, many years for the state of Ohio. And what I love so well is that we were always taught by NCNW, leave no one behind. And so that allows us the opportunity to be able to recruit, renew, and to maintain leadership and to have our members to come back, get involved, and bring others where you will never regret on that journey with NCNW. Now that the transformation and the execution for the layout for the foundation for the Ohio State Coalition of NCNW have been illustrated by Latisha Hazell, our BHRP chairperson for the past years, 2018 through 2020, with special thanks to the BHRP Achievers Committee that worked diligently together, enjoyed one another, shared moments with one another. Let's look and to review at where do we go from here. We must move onward with gratitude of thanksgiving in our hearts and minds as we develop strategic and planning of actions. Diversity. The sections as follow. Cincinnati section, Cleveland section is the oldest section for over 60 years of services. Columbus section, Cuyahoga County section, Dayton section, Lorain County section, Sandusky, Springfield Clark County section, Youngstown section, Western Reserve section, the North Ohio Life Member Guild, and Dayton Springfield Life Member Guild. Many, many years, over 20 years ago, our late state convener, Mrs. Gloria L. Chapman, asked for her leadership and dedication for the BHRP award ceremony. Many NCNW members of the Ohio State Coalition began to financially support the efforts of becoming an achiever. We should always be thankful for our outstanding leadership down through the years. On behalf of Dr. Thelma Daly, she has instilled the incredible actions of respecting one another. We all are so thankful of her divine and dedicated leadership. The event was designed that Cleveland section and the Cuyahoga County section, Western Reserve, and the North Ohio Life Member Guild would be the host of the Bethune Heights Recognition Program award ceremony for the weekends for several years, not 1 year, but several years. The seed monies was provided by the hosting sections and the Life Member Guild. That would be the money that we would be able to come to the table, sit at the hotel, and make the plans to be able to open up the venue. The Bethune Heights programs and activities would begin on a Friday evening with a social reception, meet and greet with entertainment, of course. And first thing early Saturday morning, we would have breakfast together with the Ohio State Coalition state meeting or state conference. The highlights of the event was the BHRP's Achievers Luncheon and award ceremony. What joy that would bring to each one of us. Exciting, joyful. Oh, just so many would come together, just parading and trying to achieve and to begin to pay on life members and life members moving to legacy life. Well, as of the year of 2018, the Ohio State Coalition officers began to review their planning of logistics and decided to venture out to the southern part of Ohio. At Creekside Conference Center in Gahanna, Ohio, the event was a delight, breathtaking. We looked around the center and we saw new faces, new members join. Behold, yes, now more Bethune Heights achievers. New life members stepping up, new legacy life members becoming Life Legacy members at $1,000 also became an achiever. So that would bring the Ohio State Coalition to have to set more goals. S, specific. M, measurable. A, achievable. R, realistic. T, for timely. As we all work diligently together, we know that we will gain strength, courage, and more knowledge, and to seek its wisdom while we accomplish our main goals and our visions. Within the state of Ohio, several local sections membership approximately may have in attendance 35 NCNW financial members, where there are some local sections membership that may have 40 to 50 or more financial members that attend each monthly meeting. However, our goal settings for the future shall be for every member to desire to become a Bethune Heights Recognition Achiever at $300 assessment. Yes, we can. And for the annual membership, become a life member at $500, and the life members to strive to become a legacy life member at $1,000. Let us remember, as we invite our special honorary guests, please recruit them to become a member of the NCNW and also to become an achiever. What a fantastic goal setting for the future. We must lean on one another's shoulders and continually to work together out of love so that the National Council of Negro Women will forever be blessed, and to continue the work and to strive to our children to be educated for the next strong 85 years to come. Now, the Ohio State Coalition for the next 2 years will begin the planning procedures and to develop the logistics for hosting the Bhrp and award venue in the northern part of the state of Ohio. Even though we may continue to experience the COVID-19, we shall trust to move onward all together to make a strong device. May God bless and keep each one. Thank you for the golden opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ohio. I hope everyone gathered something to think about and plan for. Although I know New York is it, but I'm telling you, Ohio is another it. I mean, a weekend of celebrations that they had, and I was part of it. I'll never get over it. Uh-oh, we got a baby in the house, somebody. Anyway, one of the things I want to mention before we go to the next segment, the steering committee consists of 56 members from across the state. The Bhrp steering committee is not just the ones you see on the screen. They are from Colorado to Montauk Point in New York. So every state that has NCNW is represented on the steering committee and help produce our luncheon and the workshops. So we want to make sure that they know how much they appreciate it. Our next presenters, oh boy, I tell you, like I say, I'm blessed. I got another grandchild that I didn't know I had. And she is part of the presentation for the Mid-Atlantic region. This is the one that shows the cooperative states all coming together and how and why it has been a success for this number of years. So I give to you Cypriana McCray and Gwendolyn Johnson from the Mid-Atlantic region. They will come to you with their presentation. Hi, Gwen, look at you. Oh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mrs. Walker and Ms. Fields, and greetings to Dr. Cole and guest. I'm Gwen Johnson, Chair of the Mid-Atlantic Region Bethune Heights Recognition Program. Over the next few minutes, Cypriana McCray and I will share information about the Mid-Atlantic Region Bethune Heights Recognition Program, who we are, the program committee's luncheon planning process, and the importance of the BHRP guidelines, with some elements important to best practices. And we will discuss the value of our debriefing or luncheon wrap-up to assist the committee in planning for successful programs in each successive year. The Mid-Atlantic Region BHRP Committee is composed of representatives from state community-based sections, collegiate sections, affiliates, and the Greater Washington Life Members Guild, located in the District of Columbia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. I've heard several versions of how it was originally configured, but they all emphasize that it was approved by Dr. Height, and that by joining together, the Mid-Atlantic region was able to make more substantial contributions to NCNW than either section or affiliate would have been able to alone. I will note that over the years, more affiliate groups have participated in the program, and this is not an all-inclusive list, but instead reflects participation in recent years. In the District of Columbia, we have Chi Phi Sorority Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, District of Columbia Section number 2, Greater Washington Life Members Guild, the Metropolitan Section, Top Ladies of Distinction, and the Washington Section. In Maryland, we have the Greater Baltimore Section, the Mitchellville Bowie Section, the Montgomery County Section, the Potomac Valley Section, and the Prince George's Section. In Pennsylvania, we have the Philadelphia Section. In Virginia, we have the Newport News Hampton Section, the New Dominion Section, the Northern Virginia Section, the Norfolk Section, the Reston Dulles Section, the Richmond Section, the Richmond Life Members Guild, the Stafford Fredericksburg Section, the Tidewater Section, and the Virginia Beach Section. Our collegiate sections include Howard University Collegiate Section, the George Washington University Collegiate Section. In Maryland, we have the Bowie State University Collegiate Section, Coppin State University Collegiate Section, Frostburg State University Collegiate Section, Morgan State University Collegiate Section, Salisbury University Collegiate Section, Towson University Collegiate Section, University of Maryland Collegiate Section. In Pennsylvania, we have the Temple University Collegiate Section. And in Virginia, we have the Hampton University Collegiate Section and the Old Dominion University Collegiate Section. Our collegiates play a special role in our luncheon that Cypriana will discuss in a few minutes, and they are encouraged to provide input into the planning and review process. For the past several years, our luncheon occurs in October. This is our 46th year, and COVID-19 did not deter us, even though there was no luncheon program. BHRP guidelines are key in determining committee membership, leadership, identifying award categories and requirements, developing timelines for committee activities, including subcommittee assignments and their completion, and the forms essential to documentation and for accounting purposes and requirements. The first meeting following our luncheon and program is usually held in November and is used primarily as an open agenda for a wrap-up or debriefing that Cypriana will expand on, and provides for an honest assessment of the successes and challenges encountered by both the committee and luncheon attendees. All of our meetings emphasize the tenets that communication and participation are encouraged and expected. We are an intergenerational group, so when we encounter problems or challenges, members are encouraged and guided to engage in discussion that is solution-based and that has proven very important to overcoming all obstacles. At our January meeting, the election of officers following the BHRP manual guidelines, determination of a meeting schedule, and a review of the luncheon wrap-up are the main focus. All of these activities help set the stage for the subsequent committee work, including theme development, venue selection, vendors, life, legacy life, and achiever subcommittees. While we have a regular meeting schedule, There are also communications of importance sent out between meetings through calls and or an email notes. Minutes are distributed and meeting reminders are sent. Prior to the pandemic, we had already established a hybrid meeting format that included an in-person or conference call option for attending. This happened well before the world of Zoom. Even now, thanks to Crystal Lee, one of our members, our recent meetings use a virtual platform, and that has only served to enhance our meetings. By doing this, it is respectful of the distance for many committee members, as well as the fact that the meeting usually occurred during the week. By doing this, we supported the opportunity for valuable input from sections in Pennsylvania and the Richmond, Chesapeake, Tidewater areas of Virginia, which can be several hours traveling distance from the metropolitan Washington, D.C. area. Every effort is made to ensure that the agenda, minutes from previous meetings, financial and budget reports are sent out prior to the meetings. I should note that we use a formal meeting format with agenda and an adherence to Robert's Rules of Order to guide order and structure in our meeting. And I will share as an aside that we have many parliamentarians who have taken the course from Ms. Piola and others, so you know we run it right. By focusing on common sense approaches to planning and decision-making, our attendance, participation, and support have tremendously increased. I'd like to thank the national offices for their support and assistance and always helping when we need to find and try to schedule to make sure that the president, the executive director, and as many members of the national staff that are in the Washington, D.C. area can attend. Cypriana.
Thanks, Gwen. So in terms of the planning process, can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Cypriana McCray. I am actually the treasurer for the Mid-Atlantic region. And I, as Gwen said, want to talk about the planning process at this time, just some quick notes. During that process, our planning committee's goal is to generate revenue throughout the year in support of the National Bhrp fundraising campaign. The committee meets annually from January through November to plan and host the recognition luncheon. The initial meetings, as Gwen has stated, focus on preparing a budget, paying for our deposit for our venue, as well as preparing for the kickoff meeting. We review our previous year's budget to estimate the current year's projected expenses. We have a profit loss sheet as well that we use that helps us determine potential revenue based on ticket sales. The committee also comes up with a donation amount to be presented to national headquarters after the luncheon. With the assistance of the committee chair, the treasurer prepares the budget for the committee's review and vote. Once the budget is approved, the committee moves forward with the planning of activities. The committee selects a theme so it also can be incorporated into our marketing materials. We also select a mistress of ceremony. This is usually someone that can be inside of our committee or it could be someone outside the committee. And the committee also selects an honorary chair, and we have our committee co-chair and chair coordinate their attendance. We also have our committee co-chairs solicit our entertainment for the luncheon, as well as start to develop our program, and we garner feedback from everyone on the committee to make sure that we have the right program before it is published in our souvenir journal. In terms of our awardees, our selection committee, which consists of our committee co-chairs, appeals to members to identify 2 to 3 candidates to honor. There are 3 main awards that we give out during the luncheon: Outstanding Honoree, State Honoree, and National Affiliates Group or Contributing Partner. The Outstanding Award is consisted of the following categories. Let's break this down. Salute to Outstanding Woman in Industry, Distinguished Community Leader, Outstanding Volunteer, Outstanding Humanitarian, Leader in the Arts, Science, or Journalism, Distinguished Educator, and Youth Leader. Once honoree suggestions are made, the selection committee sends out applications to all of our candidates. All applications must be completed and returned by a specified date and time. The candidates' applications are then reviewed by the selection committee to determine if they meet the requirements. All finalists are presented to the committee for their review and vote. The selection committee notifies the recipients of the awards. At our kickoff meeting, this is a celebratory time. It is usually hosted by our committee co-chairs. All section representatives receive a packet of materials to distribute to their respective sections. The packet of materials includes luncheon details, fundraising opportunities, vendor applications, as well as information regarding our Bethune Achiever, Life, and Legacy Life members. The distribution of event and raffle tickets also begins during the kickoff meeting. We then begin to solicit advertisements from local businesses, NCNW sections, and other patrons. Advertisements are also an additional means of generating revenue from the committee. Deadlines, as Gwen has pointed out, are key to keeping us on schedule throughout the year. The packet of materials is distributed in advance at the kickoff meeting to provide the section representatives ample time to submit the information to their sections and to garner honorees for the luncheon. Adhering to those deadlines is also a cost-effective method of remaining on target for our approved budget. For the luncheon, we have affiliate organization members volunteer to work our registration and will call areas. Our collegiate section volunteers also assist in various tasks. They usher dignitaries and honorees to and from the VIP area. They participate in the luncheon processional, and they assist in seating of members and guests. They also distribute souvenir journals at each table, and they support our vendors as needed. And they also serve food to disabled or senior members and guests. Our musical guests play selections of their choice at various times throughout the event and while lunch is being served. The recognition of awardees and honorees is the highlight of the luncheon. Members are always, and guests are always, asked to patron our vendors throughout the event. The 50-50 raffle drawing winners are also announced by the treasurer during the luncheon. And then we conclude, as usual, with closing remarks by our committee chair, which is Gwen, and by singing "This Little Light of Mine." During our post-wrap-up meeting, we hold this meeting after our luncheon to discuss the luncheon's success, financials, and lessons learned. The financial secretary's and treasurer's debrief covers revenue and expenses per the approved budget. The treasurer suggests a donation amount for consideration and vote by the committee. Once the amount is voted upon, the committee chair coordinates a meeting with the executive leadership in DC for a formal presentation of the donation. Here are some of the lessons learned that we would like to share with you at this time. Adhering to an approved budget is key to being profitable for the program to be successful. Creating a planning schedule allows the committee to stay on track with critical tasks. Awardees must be available to receive their award on the day of the luncheon. We should encourage all members to make a commitment to become Bethune Achievers annually. All honorees payments must be received by the specified deadlines to be recognized at the luncheon. This also includes us reaching out to our sisters who are not in our general area, in our local area, to make sure that their payments are received on time as well. Event ticket distribution must be handled in an organized manner to prevent errors in attendee headcount and cost overruns. Proper documentation for all honorees must be received for record keeping and audit purposes. It is imperative to include our sister collegiate sections throughout the planning process to maintain a connection with our millennial members. Finally, in response to COVID-19 and with the delays plaguing our postal service, we incorporated the collection of money via PayPal. This gave us a no-touch option for those who were interested. It was also an easy way to receive funds from those who had a PayPal account. It also gave us the ability to transfer funds from our PayPal account directly to our bank account within 1 to 3 business days. And obviously, it was a faster method of receiving payments from our honorees. This concludes our presentation. We hope this information was helpful, but please feel free to ask questions during the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you, Cypriana. Thank you, Gwendolyn. Oh, Oh boy, it has been you know, when you do something and you're not sure of whether it's appreciated or not because you don't hear from those who utilize the effort. I am hearing from all of these successes that the guidelines were an asset to you. Thank you very much. A lot of hard work and collaboration went into it. And I do appreciate that you're reading them and being guided. The key word is guided, not dictated to, but guided. Thank you so much. Finally, our last workshop. And I'm just gonna let her fly. I can say so much about Deborah. Deborah was former president of the Manhattan section. She was former, well, probably still is it the election committee? Yeah, the election
Yes.
committee. She
And
is
nominating
also, or was, okay, nominating committee. She was the New York State treasurer and then had the mitigated goal to move to Denver and give me the bank book. So I am not a happy camper with that. At saying all of that, she's a friend and I love her dearly. She has BHRP in her heart and it runs through her blood veins. And I'm just gonna let her tell you what her plans are for the Rocky Mountain Regional Alliance.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker, for that introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deborah Tucker. I am the Denver, Colorado section treasurer and a member of the Rocky Mountain Regional Alliance. I will explain how and why the Rocky Mountain Regional Alliance was formed and how we plan to institute the Bethune Height Recognition Program. From here on out, they'll be known as BHRP. The Rocky Mountain Regional Alliance was formed in 2015 as a coalition of states with fewer than 2 sections. The alliance consists of the following states: Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, Nebraska, Oregon, and Washington State. A regional election is held for the following positions: regional coordinator, assistant regional coordinator, secretary, chaplain, communications chair, and regional section representative. Each elected and/or appointed officer can serve for 2 consecutive years. Our 2019-2021 regional coordinator is Mrs. Tony L. Buggs. Mrs. Buggs, the officers and members of the Rocky Mountain Regional Alliance, thank you for your leadership. The meetings are held quarterly. The purpose of joining together as a group is to operate similarly to the state coalition in sharing knowledge, expertise, and vision for the continued success of the National Council of Negro Women. The Alliance developed a mission statement, purpose, bylaws, and objectives reflective of the spirit and vision of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune and Dr. Dorothy I. Height. By these state sections coming together, it is the hope to improve section leadership and membership as we fulfill the initiatives of the national organization. The development of the sisterhood has strengthened our sections through the sharing of projects, commitments, and fostered the growth of NCNW at the local and regional levels. In 2000, at our national convention, the Mary McLeod Bethune Recognition Program became a national program. Subsequently, renamed to honor both NCNW founder Mary McLeod Bethune and former president and chair of the board, Dorothy Irene Height, the Bethune Height Recognition Program. BHRP salutes and recognizes all who exemplify the Bethune tradition of providing community volunteer services to those who are less fortunate. This national program is an annual event and is conducted by NCNW state organizations or approved cooperating combination of states. It includes participation of all NCNW community-based sections, collegiate sections, legacy life members, associate members, and national affiliate organizations. The program recognizes individual NCNW members for their extraordinary work and volunteering for community service and their donation of a minimum of $300 to support the work of NCNW. These persons are called Bethune Achievers. New life members and legacy life members are also honored as part of the Bethune Height Recognition Program. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the process of creating a Bethune Height Recognition Program committee to organize the first Rocky Mountain Regional Alliance BHRP event was postponed. The tentative goal of the alliance is to have a BHRP celebration in 2022. However, it became evident that the Rocky Mountain Regional Alliance could do this because of the section's members' participation, programs, events, upgrading one membership level, recruiting new members, and encouraging them to become Bethune Achievers, life or legacy life members. I would be remiss if I did not thank each Rocky Mountain Regional Alliance state and section members that either became new or upgraded their membership to legacy life or life member. I thank you all. The Rocky Mountain Regional Alliance plans to institute the Bethune Height Recognition Program with the following guidelines that can be downloaded from our national NCNW website. Some of the guidelines that have been established are: 1, create a BHRP committee. After election of officers, the Finance Committee, along with the chair, will establish a budget to be presented to the committee for adoption. 2, all members of the Rocky Mountain Regional Alliance BHRP Planning Committee must be Bethune Achievers. The names of the elected and approved Rocky Mountain Regional Alliance BHRP Chair and Financial Secretary will be submitted to the National BHRP co-chairs and copied to the Executive Director of NCNW. 4, we will establish our own EIN number. The National NCNW EIN number is not to be used by states or approved cooperating combination of states. 5, we will establish a bank account separate and apart from our sections and or other financial obligations of the state or approved cooperating combination of states. This avoids the conflict of commingling of funds. The funds from this account should be used solely for the expenditures and business of the state or approved cooperating combination of states BHRP. 6, expenditures should require 2 signatures on each and every check with accompanying receipts or vouchers. The signatures should be the state or approved cooperating combination of states chair, treasurer, and or the alternate. The treasurer and financial secretary's report should indicate the confirmed expenses. The BHRP may select to present special awards to individuals who provide outstanding support and service to further the work of the National Council of Negro Women in the local community. State organizations or approved cooperating combination of states will vet and request biographies of candidates for the award of outstanding honorees recognized for their extraordinary work in providing community volunteer services, and significant financial contribution or facilitation of significant financial contributions from others to NCNW. The name of the award is Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Last Will and Testament. Sections may not award this most esteemed award. It must be awarded at the state or approved cooperating combination of states level. Only the national office, which is responsible for the care of the last will and testament scroll, can prepare the award for the state organizations or approved cooperating combinations of states. 8, the BHRP committee will meet on a regular basis, usually monthly, either through group gatherings or using technology to help include all members of the committee due to their geographic locations. For continuity, the meetings will be held on the same day and time of the month in which it was agreed upon by the committee. I just mentioned some of the state or approved cooperating combination of state BHRP guidelines. Therefore, for those states or approved cooperating combination of states who are not participating in this national program, do not be discouraged and establish your own or join a state or an approving cooperating combination of states BHRP. In planning, we will adhere to the BHRP guidelines that can be found on our national website and or contact our National Bethune Height Recognition Program co-chairs, Donna Michelle Fields and Johnnie M. Walker. I look forward to my continued service and commitment to the Bethune Height Recognition Program, as well as any other NCNW programs in our mission. Thank you and continue to be safe.
Wow. You guys make me so proud. I tell you, what excellent presentations by the facilitators. I am so happy and so thankful because you put so much into your presentations. And I'm getting, I mean, this chat room is full of thank yous and accolades for your presentations. They're not just coming from me, it's coming from your audience. Thank you so much, and applause to all of you. Now we have, is Ariane on? Because she was to manage the chat room for Q&A. If there's any questions, you can also raise your hand. I think there's a, is that where the reaction thing is? Where's the raise your hand?
If you click on participants, you can raise your hand.
Yeah, okay.
I believe.
So if anybody
or just type them
have
in
any
the
questions, let's start with that.
So we already had a few
the
questions.
other thing, you did?
We have a few questions in the chat, so I can start with one question was asked, what is required to move a traditional BHRP luncheon date? How many other sections voted to change traditional dates, especially before COVID?
That's from Arania. I answered her in the chat. But anyway, your committee, what the majority, that's why you have a collaboration of all entities from all sections making up your state coalition. So there's no dictatorship as to what changes will be made. It is voted on and passed by the majority of your committee. So changes that from the norm has to be brought to the body. You can't make the changes yourself. I hope that answers.
Irma, I'd like to also add to that, if I may.
Yes, you may.
Actually, we have ours late in the year. So we usually have our BHRP luncheon in October. And we start, as I said earlier in my presentation, that we start in January kind of planning. And we were monitoring the situation as, you know, we got to March and April timeframe, and communicated extensively with our venue, because our venue kind of dictated how we were going to navigate trying to have an event if we could. And we had two wonderful and capable logistics co-chairs, if you will, who kept us abreast of everything that was going on along the way and kept us in constant communication with the venue. And the venue ultimately said they don't think it's logical for us to go forward with having the event due to everything that could happen and did happen, obviously, with COVID-19. So we made the decision to postpone it for another year, if you will, to allow the virus to, you know, move out and us to regroup next year and come back strong and have, you know, pick up things where we left off previously.
So did New York. We cancel it for 2020 into 2021. Thank you, Cypriana. Did that answer your question? Did that answer you?
I wanted to follow up with Cypriana, because she does a fall BHRP luncheon. How does that affect changes in administration? Because we do the fiscal year, you know, where we begin in September and there's a new administration.
Right.
Is there an agreement for your administration that, you know, the same people just transfer over?
So,
excuse me, Sip. You don't do a change in administration annually. It's every 2 years.
yes, and that's what I was going to say, Arania. For the BHRP committee itself, you change your administration every 2 years. So we are getting ready as a committee to have our discussions and start our discussions with around our nominating committee to start the process for our next year's elections.
Ms. Walker, could I add to what Cypriano is saying? This is Gwen. At the last meeting, we discussed what the election process was going to be so that everyone would be aware. And that information will also be in the minutes to go out to make sure that there's an understanding of how the process will continue.
Okay. Anyone else for that topic? Moving right along. Next question, Ariane.
Okay, there was one question in reference to the Mid-Atlantic region when they were doing their presentations. The expectations, is there a financial expectation for honorees outside of the organization? So that would be towards Cypriana or Miss Gwendolyn.
Gwen, you want to handle that one?
I can share with you that I was about to say, I can share with you that we encourage everyone to become members, not only of NCNW, but to become Life, Legacy Life, and or achievers through BHRP, whether they are actual current members, members of affiliates who are thinking about doing it, or otherwise. So in terms of the honorees, we've been very blessed, both in terms of the organizations and individuals, that they are usually members of NCNW, so we have had very little challenge in getting folks to join. While that's not a criteria, like I said, in our area, in the Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Maryland areas, we've got a lot of NCNW support, so that makes it pretty easy to do that. It is recommended / required that all committee members become Bethune Achievers, and we have achieved quite a great achiever number in our committee because of that, and we thank them for their support on an annual basis.
I don't think that was the real question. Read the question again, Ariane. Because I think what it was asked of, I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, about the honorees and how much money, finances they are expected to bring to the table. Was that the question?
I think the base of it. Do you have a financial expectation for honorees outside of the organization?
And what we,
Oh,
if I
I
might,
see. In
Right,
answer to that
right.
question, Ms. Walker, no. But one of the things that we found is that the honorees feel it's such a special honor that they are buying 1, 2, and sometimes 3 tables for the luncheon. One honorees group actually bought 5 tables one year. So we do have the advantage of, while there is no financial expectation, the support is seen in both their members, friends, and family supporting it, and many of them becoming NCNW members is to our advantage.
That's what I was going to add. They are known throughout the community for their service, or from their churches, political arenas, whatever. And they are, sometimes you might get one that's not bringing anything with them, but then for the most part, the honorees do fill up your room. They really do. They have a following.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Someone asked in the chat if they wanted to submit funds for BHRP as Achiever. So I think that came from Ms. Valerie Scott. If you're on, does your state currently have a BHRP? I'm assuming not. If you're on, Ms. Valerie Scott, you can unmute yourself. Turn your camera on. Let's see.
To be honest, I don't know if Ms. Scott wants to make a contribution directly to national or to her local NCNW section.
Ms. Valerie Scott, you're unmuted if you want to speak.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Do you want to share audio, a video as well?
Can't find it on here. I'm not used to using my phone per se, so I'm on my phone and
okay.
And yes, actually, I'm fairly new, so I'm learning a lot. This is my very first convention, and I've heard of BHRP through my section, but I didn't know anything about how do I become a part, how do I assist, how do I,
who is your section? Where is your section?
Well, I am with the Potomac Valley section in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Okay, we need to establish a sidebar with Cypriana and Gwen.
Absolutely. And I will reach out to her after this, and we can share some more information with her. And she has a great section that is participatory in our BHRP. And so I would love to have a conversation with them and get you all together so that you can have a meeting of the minds as to how you support the initiative going forward.
Thank you so much. Does that help you, Valerie? Ms. Scott?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, very, very good.
And Grandma, if I may chime into that, and that's a great point, is that we need to make sure that our section representatives that are coming to the meeting are bringing back information to the section and doing and giving a report to their section at their section meeting so that they understand the importance of the fundraising campaign called BHRP, if you will, and how they can contribute. Because we've had some challenges, and I'll just share, just be transparent for a minute. We've had some challenges with some of our people having some of their section members send their money directly to national and then want to be recognized through the BHRP. And we have kind of beat that horse to death, if you will, to ensure that they understand that in order to be recognized through the Mid-Atlantic, if you will, BHRP and any other BHRP, that they would have to come through us, and that we can assume because they're sending their money downtown that they would be able to automatically be guaranteed honorees, if you will, and be honorees in the BHRP program. So this is a great opportunity and a great a testament to our sister Valerie Scott getting into the know, right, and making sure that our section representatives are bringing back the information to the section so that people are informed and can make informed decisions about how they want to get involved.
And engaged.
Absolutely.
Very well said.
I think that's a great point that you brought up, that if members want credit for their payment, it has to come through the BHRP program. And if you're getting it directly to national, then it's not through the program.
Right, because we did have to share. If you just do that, then you'll just get a pin in the mail, right? And that's not the same as coming to our luncheon and our, celebrations, if you will, getting a certificate, getting your name in the souvenir booklet and things of that nature. So if you want the regalia of it, I suggest you come through the BHRP. But if you, not really into that, you can definitely send your money downtown and you will still get a pin in the mail from the membership director.
Okay, another question in the chat. Is there a limit to the number of scrolls that can be presented at BHRP? That came from Ms. Joanne Miller. If you're on, you may unmute yourself.
Did you also ask them to tell us where they're from, what section, what state? I mean, what state when they ask these questions? So if we, as Donna and I would like to know, so we can get together and present something to them.
Okay, Ms. Joanne Miller, we hear you.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
wait, excuse me. Hello, I'm stepping out of character now because Joanne is my friend and she's the state convener of Connecticut. So what is your question, Joanne?
I was just asking about the number of scrolls. I know we have talked before about the fact of having a state representative or someone honored from the state or somebody honored from each of the sections of the state. So I'm just still trying to get some clarification on that.
May I answer that, Ariane? And I'm not going to embarrass my friend. I'm not going to do that.
Please don't, please don't.
That is in the guidelines, but I will answer you so everybody else will know what the answer is. There's no guarantee for any state to have a state honoree. Okay, that's number one. Once in a while, you might have an exemplary member of a section that name is submitted to be the state honoree, but the whole coalition, the BHRP committee, has to agree for that person to be honored by the state. And no, we're not choosing one from every section. No. Okay, is that
okay? But you can, but you can have more than one though from the state.
No, one state honoree.
One state honoree. Okay. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna get you. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Next.
Does anybody else have a hand raised or have a question? I don't see any more in the chat at the moment.
Our time is up.
I have a, Johnnie, this is Brenda. I have a quick question to ask you all.
Uh-oh. Okay.
All right, don't start. It's gonna be quick. Really, when you talk about the committees, one of the things we were looking at for the Bethune Heights committee was staggering so that we have some of the veterans and then we bring in a new person, and then the next year the veteran transition out and that new person now is the veteran, and then you bring in someone else so that you have a constant flow of experience and new, and so that they're learning as they go along. Do you guys recommend that?
That is strictly up to you and your state. If it's working for Southern California, then I'm not one to change it. It would not work for New York. Okay.
Grandma Johnnie, I'd like to chime in there.
I'm just telling you.
I'd like to chime in there, and Gwen can also attest to this. We're fairly new in our positions in the Mid-Atlantic region, if you will. So, Gwen, you could talk about your situation, and I can talk about mine. But I'll just say, for me, I became the treasurer last year, Gwen. Mm-hmm. After the reins being passed to me for last year, the person that was doing it prior to me had been doing it for 25 years, Gwen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, Yes, she had been the treasurer for 25 years, and she did an excellent job and trained me up and kind of threw me into the deep end, but that's okay. We have a busy region here, if you will, but I got good training. But I'll just share that was important to have someone come in that's new, fresh, kind of had different ideas and approached the financial role, if you will, differently. And we also have a new financial secretary as well. So myself and the financial secretary were new to doing this type of role for the BHRP, and Gwen was also new at being the chair. So we did have a lot of transition, but I'll let Gwen share additional information if she would like.
I think it's also important too that we had several people who have been longtime committee members. While Cypriana just achieved the role last year, she had been a member of the committee for several years and was even our mistress of ceremony at one of our luncheon events and did a fantastic job. But as I mentioned in my presentation, we're an intergenerational group, and I appreciate the fact that Gen Xers and millennials bring a whole new perspective on finances and things like that. And the previous treasurer was very much into making sure that she passed the mantle on to someone who could bring some of those thinking outside the box ideas to it. And I encourage each section or multi-state group to think in terms of that, making sure that you look at the importance of thinking outside the box, both in terms of who you submit to your nominations committee for offices and whether or not they have experience with the Bethune Heights Recognition Program. Because even if you have not been an officer, experiencing that over the years does make a difference in how you approach the task at hand.
That's very good ideas, but what I'm hearing from most of the questions and answers, I don't know about other states, but New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey, we're tri-state. And once upon a time, it was Pennsylvania. After every convention year, we have the following year, like 2021, we will have a leadership training conference. The BHRP is part of the training conference. But back to the situation at hand, I know the guidelines say the financial secretary and the treasurer is like unlimited. They don't have to be elected every 2 years, but no one should stay there for 25 years. That's seemingly a lot. Our committee, our state committee, we have an election every 2 years. Before Dr. Height passed away, when BHRP was sort of waning, she made appointments for the state leaders of the program because she saw it waning a bit. And that's, you know, now we're back together. We've got the guidelines that we never had before. Guidelines became prevalent in 2016, 17, and it's really something that the board adopted because it makes sense. And if everybody just takes a piece from it, you can add your own if you want to, but if you follow the basics, you'll have success in your planning.
All right, ladies, we need to wrap up, so we're going to take the final question. There was a hand raised from Miss Chanel Wood, Indiana. If she wants to unmute, that'll be our final question.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm
being You're supposed to be on mute. Good afternoon.
My hand been up for a minute.
You're supposed to be on mute.
I'm invaded by these friends of mine. Chanel, where's Chanel?
I'm here.
We need everyone else to mute so she can be heard, please.
Okay.
I'm here. First, I would like to commend you on a job well done. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoy working with the planning committee, with the steering committee. I can't hear you, I can only see you. But thank you. My question, of course, you know, about Indiana. I'm from Indiana. And when Am I unmuted?
We hear you, Ms. Chanel.
Okay. I just wanted to know, because our first initial meeting, I have finally got a committee together. How soon will you be available to sit in on our Zoom meeting? I knew you was gonna do that, on our Zoom meeting, so that we can get started to prepare for 2021.
It's muted. Which what I'm doing?
I cannot read lips, Johnnie.
Send me some dates and I'll choose one.
All right, ladies, at this time, we do need to end because we're going to start our final session. You have Ms. Johnnie's contact. You can ask your question then if you have anything else, but we definitely need to start as they are pulling us in for the main plenary session.
Download the guidelines, and there's a Q&A in the guidelines.
So we thank you all for attending today. And we know this is a great conversation. A lot of things were shared. At the end of the convention, these videos will be available, and we thank you all, and we hope you continue to enjoy convention.